Very good. The Brooklyn Housing Authority Board of Commissioners meeting of Thursday, March 13th, 2025 is called to order at 4 p.m. In attendance are Commissioners Gagliardi, O'Donnell, and Sonia. Thus, a quorum is present. Executive Director Crenti and Finance Director Erica Miller are also present. This meeting is being audio and video recorded. Folks, if we can pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, folks, we're gonna go a little bit out of order here. We're gonna do the annual plan for 2025, which is the 5-year plan. For the state side, right, Bob? Sorry, the annual plan is the state side. Correct. The state side of the housing authority. You haven't said that? The board, rather than proceeding in customary order of items on the agenda, will proceed with the public hearing on the FY26 annual plan. It being 4 p.m., I will entertain a motion to open the public hearing on the annual plan for FY 2026.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to open the public hearing.
And Mr. O'Donnell, Commissioner O'Donnell, was the motion to open it. Do you second it?
Yeah,
The public hearing on Berwick Housing Authority's 2026 annual plan is now open.
We have to have a roll call.
Roll call vote.
Yeah, so roll.
Okay, ready?
O'Donnell,
Commissioner O'Donnell,
yeah,
Gigliotti,
Yes.
Sonia, yes.
excellent. The hearing is open.
Hearing's open. It's public comment time. So does anyone wish to speak about the FY 2026 annual plan? No?
No.
Commissioners?
Oh, no one speaks, item 4. No comments submitted by mail to the housing authority. There were no written comments submitted to the housing authority.
There was no reasonable accommodation request
Was
submitted.
submitted, and residents were provided a copy of it, invited to review and submit comments relative to the FY 26 annual plan. The housing authority already considers the concerns of residents and of the general public regarding needs and priorities, and they incorporate some or all of these needs prior to the draft plan is deemed by the authority to be consistent with sound management. Apparently, there are no comments, so
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the fiscal 2026 annual plan.
close the hearing.
Sorry. Mr. Chairman, I move to close the public hearing.
Mr. O'Donnell is closing the hearing.
okay.
He seconded it.
okay, roll call vote. Gigliotti,
Aye.
O'Donnell,
Closing the hearing.
Yep.
Aye. Yeah,
Sonia, yes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the annual plan for FY 2026.
Mr. O'Donnell, he made a motion to approve the plan. You seconded it.
Yes, I second.
On the vote, O'Donnell,
The vote to approve the plan, O'Donnell,
Yeah,
Dave,
Aye.
John, yes.
so it's done. Thank you very much. Going back there, after the Montrec, the full-time RSC, apparently was called out, so she's not here, so we'll have to catch up at another meeting.
Ashley,
Ashley,
yes.
And I'm just taking some liberties.
Yeah, go right on.
The minutes that were submitted there of the meeting of January 9th. Need a motion to approve the minutes, and you need a motion to second.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the minutes of January 9th, 2025.
And O'Donnell seconds.
I have a motion and second. All in favor, aye.
Yep,
Roll call for this?
Yes. For everything.
once he's on the phone, everything's.
Okay, very good. O'Donnell. On the motion.
O'Donnell, how do you vote on the motion?
Aye.
John, aye.
Okay, Earl,
Correspondence, placed on file, we also, the secretary.
oh, yeah, that letter that, Secretary of Housing, it's Cabinet Secretary, Chair Augustus, and the Undersecretary, Ben Stone, visited the Housing Authority, on February 4th. And gave you that memo. think that we have a great staff. They were quite impressed with what they saw. And they spent 45 minutes here, talked about housing. And over and viewed an apartment stateside, 13 River. They were very impressed. Very impressed, and I think, and credit those staff. Administratively as well as maintenance staff. It
Takes a village.
is, and they said, you know, financial stability is well known at their level. And the effort that goes in is well known at their level. Yeah, everyone sees stuff on the internet that, you know, there's criminal activity going on and all that. They were quite impressed, and I think it's a testament to the good work of the staff.
Investment accounts.
Investment accounts, first one is February 1st. I think that's the first one.
Yep.
that, we hit 4 million. For those that are new here or previously here, we've said it before. Funds, for example, on the first one, where it says 16R, that balance, 2.7 million can only be used at 16R. You know, each of those counts, you know, money comes out of that area, and you know, we can't use it for collateral, we can only use it for that. Now, so I, you know, it's there, I presume it just. Would you normally use place it on file?
Sure, are we gonna do the same with March? Unless you have
Same thing
something.
as March, I think, yeah, it went up a little bit, to 4,019,000. And, you know, attached to it is the history back to 2016 with, started back in 2016, we had 2.4 million total, now we have 4 million. But again, you know, you can't go jumping out the window and say, oh, and build a new building here, there, everywhere. You can only use it for each area. Payment of the bills, if you're approval, I'll just keep going with it.
Yeah, absolutely, Bob, and, you know, I'm gonna point out.
The first one, since we didn't have a meeting last month, it's January, the month of January, and you can see this, the totals of payment of the bills, 151,000, which is kind of in the middle area. I'll answer any questions, if not, you need a roll call, vote to approve the payment of the bills for the 1/1 to 1/31.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Is there a second, Mr. O'Donnell? Okay,
Motion and second, all in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner O'Donnell.
how do you vote, Mr. O'Donnell, yes?
Yeah.
Dave?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next is the payment of bills for the February 1 through February 28th. You can see that total of 94,000. And just try to get ahead of this, ahead of the possible question. On the last page, 31 up. Is for one of the houses that have been occupied by someone for it's 15 years. 10,800 for the new kitchen cabinets. And that's, I think, the biggest expenditure in it. At the top of that same page, it's an $8,000 expenditure that was for one of the houses. One pipe feeding the house broke, and we had to replace an underground water pipe. So I'll answer any questions. Roll call vote.
Mr. Chairman, I moved to approve.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
The
period.
date.
I'm sorry. February 1st through 28th.
There we go.
Mr. O'Donnell, how do you?
Second.
Here, okay. Very good, thank you, thank you. Next is the Section 8 voucher report for February. We require a vote, and we'll talk about this a little later. $91,503.58. I'll answer any questions, ask for a vote to approve.
A motion to approve.
Okay, the need a motion, Mr. O'Donnell?
Second.
Okay.
All in favor, I'm sorry,
Roll call.
Commissioner
Mr.
Jim.
O'Donnell, how do you vote?
Yes.
He votes yes.
Commissioner Jim.
Aye.
All right.
Yep.
Accounts report. Oh no, excuse me.
March.
The March report is 93,897. I'll answer any questions or ask your vote to approve.
Motion to approve.
All right, you seconded it, Mr. O'Donnell?
Yes, okay.
Okay, roll call vote, Mr. O'Donnell.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is the accountant's report for the month of January. And as I normally do, if you go to page 3, you can see that the third line up from the bottom. This is for the state program, which is Clear River, the Talbot, and all the houses. The percentage there, I can't see it, 56.99%, which remember the threshold is 35, so we're okay. This is January, so we got some wind in our sails. I think last year, just the way it worked out, we were hovering in the 30s at this point, which is concerning. So I'll answer any questions, if not, place it on file.
Okay.
No questions?
Yep.
Okay. Man, a few words, Mr. O'Donnell.
Not yet.
Yeah, I know, it's true. Next is the February 28th report. It will take a look down and change to 56.85, so again, yeah, we're okay. Nothing to jump out the window. No questions, we'll just put on file.
No questions. Payroll.
Payroll report for the month of January. You have it, and I'll answer any questions, if not, just say, we need a vote to approve it.
Motion to approve the payroll report of January 2025.
Mr. O'Donnell, the motions to approve, you second it?
I second that.
Okay.
Okay, and Commissioner
And
Jim?
vote, how do you vote on that, Mr. O'Donnell?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on, the February payroll report is there, I'll answer any questions, there was yeah, this is the one where you see in the right hand column, there are some higher numbers than payrolls because the budget was approved and the salary people, it's retroactive to July 1.
Yep.
Any increase, the hourly people, the same thing, it's retroactive, so that's why that column in there is the numbers.
It's the catch up.
Yeah.
So if there is no questions, we voted.
Chairman, make a motion to approve the payroll report, February 2025.
O'Donnell, you approved the second,
Aye.
second.
I second.
Okay, how do you vote on it?
Yes.
Aye. Yes.
Next is the vacancy report as of February 1. We're at 96%. Our goal really is to try to be at 98%. But you know, you can have, if you look down there at 705, those are the houses. You know, with one vacancy, you take a big hit percentage wise. It's just a handful of houses and, you know, 11 houses. So in any event, we're at 96, but as you can see, just going down from the top one was the death, the second one was a move out. Third one was a death, the fourth one was a death. You can go to 13 River Street. First one was a transfer, second one was a death. And the housing one was the individual who was over house and that has been moved to 13 River Street. So I'll answer any questions. We're gonna file.
Is Commissioner O'Donnell okay?
Sorry?
Is Commissioner O'Donnell okay?
Probably watching TV.
Yeah, he's fine.
Okay.
I think he probably talked to the board, it's Gerald or something.
Well, yeah, Puss in Boots, the cat next door.
So we didn't think you heard that. Next is the, I guess we put that on file.
On fire, please.
Next is the vacancy report to March. And that went up 1% to 97%. And again, you see there were 3 here. Death, first one to move out, the third one is the death, and then the 2 with 13 River Street were both residents passing away. So, I'll answer any questions, not put it on file.
Nope.
Thank you.
No question.
Next is the executive director's report. And I will have, those present, and I will get them to the other commissioners. Here's a report that Cabinet Secretary Augustus commissioned, and was done regarding housing. I provided one to the select board, it provides strategies for housing, things like that, so it's quite informative. Relevant to the executive director's report, administrative actions, as I had mentioned in previous meetings, I will no longer provide updates on every court action. I will provide a response, an update when it's concluded, because, providing that, well, it's not totally settled. It's been the subject of idle gossip around, and I don't want to feed into that. But in the report here, we were granted an execution for eviction for a 705 a housing tenant in a house. The tenant appealed, granted a 10-day compassionate extension, and then on December 29th, the tenant satisfied the court order, and the eviction was scheduled for the move out on January 3rd. The tenant complied. There was a raft payment involved, as well as a payment from the tenant, so that was satisfied. And as they said, stepping up to their other pending actions, those will be announced when they are filed. There were no issues, new issues relative to smoking. We continue to refer residents with delinquent rent to RAF. Payment agreements have been executed where possible. The quarterly tenant meeting that was held on January 14th. It shows you 6 attended from the Talbot, 6 from 13 River Street, 13 from 16 River. The attendance was 12%, and the next meeting is April 15th. I listed modernization projects. These are projects that are in the pipeline. Replacement of bathroom sinks at 13 River Street is out to bid now. That's a $200,000 project. 64 sinks. And that part of that is impacted by 66,000, which is asbestos and caulking underneath the sink, so it has to be abated. And in the design, a way for us to access, I forget what it's called, underneath the sink in the pipe. Right now, we have to remove the sink to get access to put the sink in there. But we asked them to design it so that we don't have to remove the sink.
Easier access,
What is it?
easier access when they,
Yeah, yeah.
instead of pulling the sink off the wall, we just unscrew a bolt.
Okay.
Way easier, less money.
The way they were built over there in the 60s, it's a common problem over there, since clocking. Video surveillance, also for 13 River Street, that's about $118,000 to $125,000 project, that's going out to bid. We have an exterior project for the McCollums, that's on 609 Boston Road. A small exterior paint project and taking out some doors, putting in some sliders. That's a house similar to the Parker house that houses individuals with challenges. The Talbot parking lot project, we finally tried Yard Clues at EOHLC, that used to be DHCD. So the scope is being somewhat expanded, and right now it's up to 117,000. There's still no final release from it. And we got a job boost, but now we gotta kind of get it moving along. So I would assume it would be something in spring, summer. I don't know. So they give the final approval. You can't really do much of a prediction. The budget was approved. The inspection, it's listed here, it's an inspection called Inspire. And that's the federal inspection, it was canceled. The last inspection was in June of 21, it was scored 98, 99% or something. Done. Do you remember what it was? 99. And because of that, we had a 3-year moratorium on inspections. But it was canceled, it was scheduled for March 11th, but on the 22nd of February, they canceled it. And the reason why, well, they didn't say it, it's obvious with what's going on in Washington, and in this case, Hyde. It was canceled, said we'd be notified. It is what it is. Blanchard Road, I spoke to the board previously about that. We had a verbal agreement with the tenant to sell us a parcel of land, so we're thinking of putting in a two-car garage there. Survey. The tenant declined, so then increased the price, we met the request for a price increase, and then the tenant decided not to sell it. So that's off the table. The tenant board member was appointed on February 24th by the select board. I have not been advised the person has been sworn in, so I cannot report any further on the status until this thing works out. There's a 30-day period in which the individual has to be sworn in. If they're not sworn in by then we have to start all over. I do want to point out something that came up. Oh, it was John. I thought it was Eric. All the lights here in the entryways, both front and back, screw-in bulbs. And they're always on. There's no switch for them. They're always on. And some people think that, you know, when you lose the power and the emergency lights go on, that they provide power, you know, hours and hours, but they don't. The emergency light, when it goes on, when it goes on, it's only designed to provide light for a period of time for people to exit the building. To exit the building. And to John's credit, when he was at O'Connor's, this light was being sold. And you screw it in, and it's got a, I guess, a charging battery thing in here, so it's on. And obviously, while it's on, it's constantly charging. If the power goes out, this light stays on for 12 hours. So that would mean that the front entry hallway and the back entry hallway here is 16. That light can be on, there's a power failure. You don't really have a lot here. But if it does go out, these lights, you know, the emergency lights can go on to 20 minutes, whatever. But at least the entryway in the front, the entryway in the back will be lit up for 12 hours. They don't really work on lights that have switches because if you switch them off, it's not getting juiced. And they only work with this type of base, not a candelabra base or anything. So, you know, it's not the type of thing that can be used everywhere. But in this case, which, you know, a little research by Mr. Similaris, it's a good idea. So we bought a sufficient supply and over a coming period of time allowing, he's going to remove the bulbs, put those in. So I think it just shows, you know, this is an ongoing commitment of the part of maintenance staff for the safety of residents and whatever we can do to improve it. Anyway, that's the executive director's report. I will answer any questions. I'll proceed.
Wow.
You know, even on the phone, wise guy. And no question.
Yeah, I'm all set.
All right.
New business.
Proceeding along is a rent write-off. This is for an individual who passed away. So we need that motion. And second, roll call vote.
Make a motion to approve the rent write-off.
Of $101, yeah. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Mr. O'Donnell, you second that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a motion in a
How do you
second.
vote? Yes?
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aye.
Very good, thank you, thank you. Next is the audit report. We have an annual audit. And I had mentioned earlier about Augustus and there was no criminal activity. As you can see from this annual audit report, it's called AUP. It stands for Agreed Upon Procedures. We use Markham and now called CBIZ, CBIZ. And you can see in the pages, it's a typical audit. They have all kinds of statements that they make. If you go into the pages with all the squares, you can see that there are no findings. 1, 2, 3, all the areas that they look at, you get to the page, the worst of findings, at the end, the findings basically dealt with, not a major issue, dealt with the fact that the plumbing firm that we use, we should have had 3 votes in a couple of situations. That, as you can see, the answer there says we accept the audit findings and we've taken corrective action to avoid any reoccurrence in the future. We have received 3 votes and we will remain the same firm based on those 3 votes. So we've satisfied that exception. If anything else, find something constructive, you accept it. So I would assume you place it on file.
Yes.
Next, I would like, this something I referred to earlier. This one says HUD finding from HCVP. HCVP is Housing Choice Voucher Program. Now, if you stick with me, that's a federal program through HUD. And this came up a number of months ago where there was someone from the select board here saying, well, you have 61 vouchers issued, you should issue 65. And he tried to explain it to the person was satisfied, has an email to the person. We get funded by HUD every month. So HUD's funding for March was $88,629. And earlier we approved something like 91,000.
Yeah.
So there's a shortfall. And what that shortfall means, first of all, is that difference called $5,000 is now the responsibility of the Billerica Housing Authority. As this program moves along through the years, there's a separate reserve account. So if you had a month where you received 93,000 and spent 88, 5,000 goes into that reserve. The goal in our case would be to have reserves of $75,000. Today, our reserves at 25,000.
Mhm.
So let's say March was a difference of 5,000. 5,000 comes out of that reserve. So today, it does not come out of our revolving account. But it's concerning. And it's not concerning just for the record. It's concerning nationwide, the uncertainty that's existing because of all these things that you see is creating a big problem. For example, Associated Press says the administration is throwing hundreds of affordable housing projects into limbo. Los Angeles Housing Authority stops accepting Section 8 applicants. This is a nationwide issue. And the Section 8 vouchers are funded directly by HUD.
Mhm.
So what would happen? There's no answer today about the future because no one knows the future. And as an old Jesuit priest once said, you can't worry about the things you can't control. But what's going to happen in the Billerica Housing Authority or any housing authority in the United States has any control over what happens. But it's a cause to do something. And the memo that I sent you outlines some of the things that we're using now as strategy. As you know, Dedham handles our vouchers. And so the email that I sent to you was an email that Dedham sent to all the housing authorities whose Section 8 vouchers they handle. Cause of the funding shortfall. Cause of the funding shortfall is a significant increase in the per unit cost driven by skyrocketing rental prices. So on one hand, you have rental prices that are going through the ceiling. So that's up there, and now you're talking about cuts to the subsidy. So it's a glaring shortfall across the United States. So one of the strategies would be, and it's summarized out here, is if someone turns in a voucher, we won't renew it. Highly unlikely. People like gold, the only way to turn in if someone passes away. But That's the position we're taking if a voucher is turned in. When we say we, I would say the general housing authority is managing it with all of the housing authorities they have. And frankly, that's what I've seen more calls now from other housing authorities. Step number two is, okay, we're in a shortfall. Let's say if, XYZ housing authority is in the black, then you would seek to move that voucher to that housing authority to spend the funds. And so it comes from us to them. And then there's, you've got the administrative fee, then goes to, it gets convoluted. But that's a way of at least preserving the roof over that person's house voucher holder's head by doing that. It requires some work. You have to find a housing authority that's in the black. I've had calls from Vermont, trying to move vouchers down here, so it's stirring things up.
Right.
Last resort, you can see on page 2. All that doesn't work. If you run out of money, you have to terminate the voucher. Like a number of people, I don't have all the answers, but I can't imagine someone making people homeless. Politicians voting to make people homeless. Certainly, as you say, you can't imagine someone voting to cut social security. But again, what you're seeing with is if it gets into that stage.
Right.
The only choice then is to cut the voucher. Next to that, parallel to that, is 16 River Street. 16 River Street is federally subsidized. How is it federally subsidized? The state lived across the street and you pay, let's say, $672. That's 30% of your gross income. That's all we collect. You move out, someone else moves in, pays 30%, $200. That's all we collect. Here, the program is different. 20-year project, we're into year, I think, 6. Today, the rent, contract rent, is $1,672, which means if you pay $672 this month, the federal government pays us $1,000. We collect $1,672 from both. Into that mix, you put federal funding. What happens if they cut that? Don't have an answer yet.
Right.
Obviously, if HUD starts cutting subsidy, the income stream gets reduced.
Yep.
You go back to one of the original things I presented to you was we have 2.7 million in the bank here. So you may be forced to look at that. All I can say is that there's uncertainty, and our mission is to house people. You don't only go to court for issues. Our mission is to house people. People honor their lease obligations. We're both happy. So we're not in the business of just saying, oh, well, somebody's cut through, get out. We're gonna do all we can, then what we can do within the financial constraints and advice from people that know more than us, but those two situations that I've described to you, housing choice voucher program today, and what's happening here, not unique to us. It's a nationwide problem. Every day it unfolds differently. You get different feedback. There are people out there sign up for a conference for $600 and we'll talk to you. Save the $600, let it unfold for us. And housing authorities will have to figure it out. And that's the position we're in. So I don't think it's a position where anyone should open a window and jump out. I don't think it's a position where it's doomed and gloom. I think, in all honesty, there's uncertainty. There's some clouds, black clouds, and we'll have to see where it goes. And I think that the Billerica Housing Authority hopefully is positioned itself financially where we can weather some part of the storm. Who knows how long it will be. So, it's going to be a story that'll gradually unfold. Either we'll come back and say, hey, good news, we're all in a good position, this thing is not doom and gloom. We'll come back and we'll say, we have to take a step, and this is what the step is. Obviously, how we're committed to providing housing. And we will do all we can within the rules, and what's available to us, and continue to do that. That's the extent of what I have to say in that. I'll answer any questions.
Any questions?
No questions.
All right. So we're gonna move on to, in the meeting here, just to remind everyone, our next meeting will be, April 10th, and it's the annual meeting. Which falls on after the election in town. Excuse me, and then May 8th will be the following meeting after that. Having said that,
It looks like
check open mic,
no one signed up.
Nope. So. If that's it, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Mr. O'Donnell, motion to adjourn. How do you vote to adjourn?
Aye.
Aye.
4:36. Let's see, you didn't say too much.
Plus we can listen to MSNBC.